Beginning for the Cleveland Indians. The Tribe hopes to duplicate last season's strong start and carry it into September as our 2012 coverage of the Indians starts right now on Sports Time Ohio. It's a gorgeous sunny Saturday in Goodyear, Arizona, as the Cleveland Indians take on the San Diego Padres in Cactus League action. We've got spring training baseball for you right here today on Sports Time Ohio. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The hats, courtesy of Rancho, Rick Manning.
Yeah,
thank you.
You got it. We got to protect ourselves from the sun.
Perfect for the southwestern motif out here in the desert. The Indians have spent a lot of time already getting a look at the players in camp, and they've got a lot of them. 62 players in camp, a lot of new faces here in Indians uniform. And here's a look at some of the new faces who are in camp. And most notably, when you look at this list, Rick, the guy the Indians acquired in the offseason from Atlanta, Lowe, who should fit perfectly into the starting rotation.
Well, a starting pitcher that can rub off. The guy doesn't miss starts, and I mean, he can really bring something to the table. I know he is on the tail end of his career, but he can certainly help these guys in the starting rotation if he stays healthy and gets that sinker working like he can.
Another guy to watch is Casey Kochman. He's a true first baseman. You know, talking about a guy who plays great defense. We haven't seen a pure defensive first baseman in Cleveland in a long time. This guy should save a lot of runs for the pitching staff, and nobody will appreciate him more than a guy like Justin Masterson, who gets the start here today. Masterson, a ground ball pitcher. He loves to have those good gloves behind him.
Well, Justin deserves to be the #1 pitcher here in that last year. He went out and towed the rubber and really battled all year long. People didn't know if he was going to relieve or start. He's proven that he's going to come out there, and he's the Indians' #1 starter this year.
Yes, sir. Manny Acta has already named Justin Masterson the opening day starter for the Tribe. We'll be back with play-by-play action. It's the Tribe and the Padres here from Goodyear, Arizona, straight ahead on Sports Time Ohio. It will be 75 degrees at game time here today in Goodyear. Fans still filing in, many of them making their way in the outfield grass seating area. Light breeze blowing in from right center field this afternoon. That's a bit of a rarity. It seems like most of the time the wind is blowing straight out in all of the ballparks here in Arizona, especially when you look at some of the scores. That's also very obvious. Justin Masterson getting the start for the Tribe here today. Indians 2-4 with a tie so far in spring training play. San Diego comes in at 2-5. Here is the Padres starting nine for manager Bud Black. Will Venable leading it off in center field, then Orlando Hudson, followed by Jesus Guzman. Kyle Blanks, Big Bopper, is at first batting cleanup. Yonder Alonso came over from Cincinnati. He'll DH and hit fifth. Jeremy Hermida is in right batting sixth. Then Jason Bartlett, James Darnell, and John Baker.
Well, Justin Masterson on the mound for the Indians, making just his second start this spring, looking for a better outcome this start than he had in his last start against Cincinnati. He went an inning and a third, 5 hits and 6 runs. So he is looking to command that fastball and just get a feel like most of the starters are so far this spring for the Indians.
Yeah, Justin saying after that first start, he said, well, that's about the way I always start out spring training. So he said for him, nothing new. He always has a rough outing early in camp and then starts to round himself into shape. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 on Will Venable.
I think when you're a starter the first time, anytime you go out there, you just look for command of your fastball. See how you can locate it in and out, and then occasionally try and feel for your secondary pitches. But Justin pretty much a power guy where he's going to go with that sinker, I'd say 80% of the time.
Now the 0-2 pitch. Checked his swing, struck him out. Masterson starts with a K. Venable down looking.
Well, and did not try to trick him. He just went right at him. There you'll see that good fastball. That one not a lot of movement, just on the outside edge, gets the call, and strikeout number 1.
You were talking about Masterson, how he relies not only primarily but heavily on that fastball and the sinker. He had a game a year ago as Hudson lines on to right. Shoe darting in, makes the catch with a slide, and there are 2 down. Shoe got a great jump on that liner off the bat of Orlando Hudson.
That's the one thing out here in Arizona. It's sometimes awfully tough to pick up the ball off the bat. You're not playing in big stadiums. It's bright, high sky, but he gets a good jump and makes the catch. If you can play outfield and catch fly balls out here in Arizona, you can do it anywhere.
Here is Jesus Guzman. Right-handed hitter takes the ball down low. Rick, I was about to mention, remember there was a game a year ago where Masterson, I think he threw 1 slider the entire game. Another line drive. This one will drop in front of Felix Pié in center field. A 2-out hit for Jesus Guzman keeps the inning alive for San Diego.
Let's check out the Indians D behind Masterson this afternoon. In the outfield, left to right, it's going to be Kanzler in left, Pié in center, Chu is in right. On the infield, it's Chisenhall at third, Cabrera at short, Lopez is at second, Laporta is at first with Lou Marson doing the catching.
Brings up Kyle Blanks. Takes a strike.
Tiny guy here. We looked at him a couple springs ago. This is a big man. He has played different positions for him in the outfield and doesn't do a bad job for his size. But playing first base today, Blanks about 6'8".
Takes, it's a little bit outside. Blanks listed at 6'6" and 272 pounds. He was a 42nd round pick. Outside from Justin Masterson. Blanks, rough start a year ago, started the season on the DL. Made 45 starts in the big leagues last year for San Diego. Had a grand slam in a game against Pittsburgh on August the 6th. Line just off the facing of the Padres dugout.
Well, that's the problem that San Diego is going to have this year, like they did last year, scoring runs. They scored just 593 runs last year. And, you know, we feel like the Indians didn't score enough. They scored 700 runs. And San Diego did not even score 600. So it's a big ballpark they play in. They're looking for some offense as much as they can get.
A full count on Kyle Blanks, so the runner Guzman at first will be off with a 3-2 pitch. is drilled. And the Padres have 2 on with 2 out. Lou Marson out with a quick chat.
Well, that ball, he had no chance really to get out of the way. You see it started in and just kept bearing in. It gets him on the hip. So free and easy for the first 2 outs, but after coming out of the stretch, command not there.
Here is Yonder Alonso, a guy that was highly touted coming through the Cincinnati Reds system, but obviously with Joey Votto there was nowhere for him to go. Swung on and missed. You really think highly of Alonso. He'll be their primary first baseman this year. But he being a left-handed hitter, the thinking is that Jesus Guzman will also play some first base from the right side time to time. Padres gave up Matt Latos to Cincinnati, and they get Alonso and also Edinson Volquez, who, if he can come back from that surgery and get back to where he was prior to that, now the Padres may have made a pretty good deal. There's a base hit in the left field. Coming around third, Guzman's going to get the wave home. Russ Kanzler's throw cut off, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead. Yonder Alonso with a 2-out RBI single. San Diego striking first with 2 down here in the first inning.
All coming with 2 outs to a pitch that's elevated right there, and it was a pretty flat sinker. It stayed up. Alonso stays right on it, takes it the other way with 2 strikes. So Masterson a chance to get out of the inning, cannot do it. Kanzler making his first start in left field today. You know, primarily a first baseman. Gets a ground ball and just gets it into his cutoff man.
That's fouled off. Kanzler told me a couple of weeks ago that he's got a bag full of different gloves. You know, and if you're trying to make a club, you want to give yourself as many opportunities as you can, so he can play some first base. He was a third baseman earlier in his career, but you know, the outfield is still something very new to him.
Yeah, you know, they're looking at him because of a right-handed bat. Had a great year in MVP in the league that he played in last year at AAA. So, you know, they're looking at him as far as offensive production goes.
Rick, he hit a grand slam in the first inter-squad, or the second inter-squad game they played here. He hit high off the center field batter's eye. So that's the kind of power that they envision, that, you know, here's a guy that could definitely, as you say, help you from the right side of the plate. The question is, where does he fit position-wise on a ball club?
Well, that's just it. He may not fit defensively. Offensively, he can swing the bat, so who knows?
That's what spring training will determine this year. Jeremy Hermida down on the count, of ball and 2 strikes with 2 on 2 out here in the first. Masterson strikes him out, and the Padres strand a pair, but they strike first, and we'll go to the bottom of the first. San Diego 1, Cleveland coming to bat. Indians coming to bat here, bottom of the first on a beautiful day in Goodyear, Arizona. Take a look at the Tribe's starting lineup under manager Manny Acta. Felix P.A. will lead it off. Then it's Asdrubal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo, Carlos Santana, Jose Lopez, and Lonnie Chisenhall. Then Russ Kanzler, Matt Laporta, and Lou Marson.
Dustin Mosley on the mound for the Padres, former Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim. See, last year, 20 starts, 3-10, not a very good year, but a 3.30 ERA in 120 innings. He had some arm problems, but getting a chance after the Padres lost a couple of starters, traded starters in the offseason. Their pitching was their strength last year.
You know, really, when you look at the Padres, especially under manager Bud Black's time there, they have been a pitching dominant club.
Well, it doesn't surprise you. I mean, they lose their closer. Pete Bell signed with the Miami Marlins.
Back to the screen. Baker's out of real estate.
But, you know, a couple other guys that are gone. Aaron Herrmann, he signed with the Dodgers as a free agent. LeBlanc trade to the Marlins, and Matt Latos went to the Reds. So they were third, really, in ERA. They did a good job pitching-wise. They were the only team that did not have a shutout last year, but they were consistently very, very good.
Hit high in the air down the left side. Guzman a long run fighting the sun, and it is a foul ball.
Well, you say that usually the wind blows out here. The wind blowing from right field down to the third base line. You can see the carry on that ball down the line. And that is one thing that can be very frustrating if you're a pitcher out here in Arizona, how the ball does carry a lot.
If you're a fly ball pitcher, it's no fun to pitch out here.
No, not. You better pick your days.
PA looks at a ball just in off the plate, and it's 2-2.
And if you're a pitcher, a fly ball, you better get in there and get it called for strikes.
Dustin Mosley delivers, and that's too low, full count. Felix P.A. starting in center field, but essentially he's one of many competing for the Indians' starting everyday job in left field. A couple of bounces to Orlando Hudson, and there's one out here in the bottom of the first.
Let's look at that San Diego defense. It's Guzman in left, Venable in center, Hermida in right. Darnell at third, Bartlett at short, Hudson at second, Blanks is at first with Baker behind the plate.
Asdrubal Cabrera. Takes a look at a ball down low. What a year he had last season. 25 homers to 92 runs batted in. 1-1 to count. Cabrera made his first all-star team last year. He basically had career highs in every offensive category last season.
Yeah, really, he took it to another level.
Called a strike on the inside corner.
But, you know, and wore down as the season went on. That's a goal, I'm sure, for him this year, is to sustain that kind of production all the way through the year. And that's a hard thing to do.
Cabrera rung up 2 down here in the bottom of the first.
A comeback fastball by Mosley. Good pitch. We see that pitch a lot by right-handers now, where they lock out the lefties. You watch the comeback on that fastball a little bit, but he dotted the I on the inside corner, tried to do it to Felix P.A. and just missed. Cabrera thought that pitch was in, but pretty good pitch.
The comeback fastball, also referred to as a front door slider.
Well, yeah, but
I'm sorry, front door sinker.
Yeah. You know, that's a tough pitch for right-handed. A lot of right-handers do it. The first one we saw was Bartolo Colon do it around here years ago, where it really has that comeback to it.
Breaking ball yanked to right field. Choo might have extra bases. Hermida cuts it off. Choo's digging for 2. And the throw not nearly in time. A 2-out double for Shin-Soo Choo.
That's the perfect time. Spring training, you get 2 outs, get a base hit. Why not try and stretch it to 2? That's where doubles are made. Chu hits a breaking ball here. By the time Herrmann could cut it off, you can see he was thinking 2 out of the batter's box. He was thinking second base, and that's where doubles are made. If you loaf between home and first, a lot of times you don't get to second, but he flat out thought second base right out of the box.
Now Carlos Santana with a runner in scoring position and 2 down. Takes down Lowe. We visited with Shin-Soo Choo during our spring training daily shows a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the fact that, you know, he dropped about 15 pounds coming into camp. A lot of that was due to the fact that he spent several weeks marching in the South Korean Army.
That's right.
Not your regular off-season workout program.
It gave him a little different perspective. You know, you think losing weight, well, I'm going to go to the gym and work out and change my diet. They put him in the Army.
He strapped on 50, 60 pounds worth of gear on his back and went for
6-7 mile hikes.
Yeah. Now the 1-1 to Santana. Up too high.
This is a category this year I'm sure Carlos is going to work on. Hitting with runners in scoring position. He's a good RBI guy. But this is where he's going to have to learn to take his walks at times with a base open, 2 outs. Just be patient enough where you don't get too aggressive. You know, they make their pitch, which is good right there. They make a very good pitch. You spit on it. Now he's got two strikes. And something he's going to have to do from this side of the plate is think the whole field, where last year he got a little pull happy from this side of the plate.
The 2-2 pitch. Close pitch. Mosley thought he had it. He was heading toward the dugout.
That's the 3rd time he tried to come in there to a left-hander with 2 strikes. And, you know, and looked like a good pitch, but consistently he's not getting it called.
And the payoff. Slow tapper towards second. Hudson. That'll take care of the Indians after an inning of play. It's San Diego 1, Cleveland nothing. The second inning for San Diego, bottom 3rd of their order. Jason Bartlett, a little check swing tapper. And Masterson, nice job by Laporta to keep his foot on the bag. That throw was sailing into foul territory. But Matt hung on, and that's out number 1.
Oh, boy, you hate to do that as a hitter. You come back, this is Bartlett's first game, and you check your swing, it goes in fair territory. But Masterson almost throws this ball down the line past Laporta. You can see he's got to come off the bag able do the ballerina, keep the toe on the bag, catches it, and saves actually an error from down the line. So they retire Bartlett.
Here is James Darnell. Darnell, former second-round pick of the Padres. Takes a strike. Made it to the big leagues last year with San Diego, but had his season cut short in the month of September. He nearly dislocated his shoulder after diving for a ball against Arizona. He underwent surgery to repair some of the damage. And so obviously he's just happy to be back and healthy. 2-2 pitch from Masterson. A little bit low, full count. Here's the 3-2. Got him looking. Third strikeout for Masterson. 2 down here in the second inning. Here's our spring training news and notes, brought to you by Taco Bell and the new Doritos Loco Tacos. It's crazy good. Now Grady Sizemore with that back injury underwent a microdiscectomy, a medical procedure on March the 1st. That was back in Miami, and they're hoping, best case, to have him back sometime in May, possibly June. And Chris Perez, if things continue to go well for him, he expects to be the Indians' opening day closer. 2-out base hit for John Baker. So for the second inning in a row, it's a 2-out single that keeps the inning alive for San Diego.
All 3 of the hits that San Diego has that first time through the lineup have come with 2 outs.
Back to the top of the order, and Will Venable. On the run, slides to cut it off. Into third comes Baker. He'll stop there, and it's a 2-out double for Will Venable. So once again, the Padres with 2 outs continue to hammer the baseball.
Well, you have to look at the location, and he jumps on that first pitch and wastes no time, and it's just right down Broadway. So in other words, I mean, you try and get a feel, and that's what you look for as a pitcher early in the spring, command of your fastball. Your number 1 pitch, and that one wasn't able to locate it, and they take advantage of it. And as a hitter, that's what you look for. You come up here and look for that first fastball you're going to get, and you get after it early.
Orlando Hudson looks at a ball down low. Hudson in his second year with San Diego. We saw him 2 years ago with Minnesota. Of course, he began his career in the American League with Toronto before going to the Diamondbacks, and then 1 year with the Dodgers. 2 balls, no strikes.
Loves to talk. Rarely will you see him and his lips aren't moving.
The O-Dog. Actually credited as the first Twins player to record a hit at Target Field. Takes a strike. It's 2-1. Now the 2-1 pitch. Way outside. You know, it's hard to believe, Rick, that a guy like Orlando Hudson, who's 34 years old, it took him until his 9th season in the big leagues to get 19 stolen bases, which is a career high. You would think a guy like Hudson would have had 20 steals somewhere earlier in his career.
Well, that's what a lot of people think. If you can run, you know, decent, and you have good speed, that you're automatically going to steal bases. That doesn't translate that way.
Jose Lopez throws out Orlando Hudson, and Masterson gets out of trouble. We go to the bottom of the second. It's the Padres 1 and the Indians 0. Chisenhall and Russ Kanzler due up for the Tribe. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you on another beautiful day here in the desert, joined now by Indians outfielder Michael Brantley. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Terrific.
Enjoying the game just like you are today. Get the day off, huh?
Yeah, day off. Beautiful day of weather. Watch a good game of baseball.
Michael, baseball is one of those games where just about the time you think you can plan for something is when the plans usually go right out the window. I don't know if you were planning on being the left fielder coming into camp, but obviously now with Grady Sizemore down, Manny Act is pointing to you to lead the way in center field. A year ago, though, you played a lot of center field as well as getting a lot of time in left, so I would imagine you're comfortable in either spot.
Yes, I am. Fortunate enough in the minor leagues, I got to play center and left. So wherever the team needs you to be, I'll be there. I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, but the first love has got to be center field, right?
Yeah, the first love was always center field. My idol was Ken Griffey. He always played center field, so I always try to, take after him.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count here on Jose Lopez. You got Josh Tomlin there. He's trying to move in on you.
Yeah, Josh Tomlin's doing the old stare trick to see if he's going to make me nervous.
Oh, he can't do that. That's how pitchers do it. They can't do that.
In the air to left. Guzman gloves it, and that's out number 1. Michael, your season cut a little bit short last year with the fractured hamate bone, some wrist issues. How you feeling just physically coming into camp right now?
I'm feeling great. I came back 100%. I did a lot of physical therapy this offseason to make sure, I had no setbacks when I came into camp. And the training staff did such a great job with me just getting back on my feet. We had a little extra time with this offseason, so we took advantage of it. And I'm 100% healthy. I'm, excited to be out there with my teammates again.
Well, that's got to be your goal this year, Michael, is get out there, play me every day. I want to play a full year, give me 140 to 50 games, and show them what you can do day in and day out, don't you?
Oh, agree. That's exactly right. 140. I'm ready for 162.
Well, that's good. No, I understand
that's the
that.
mindset.
That's good. That's a good mindset to have. All right, let's say 162. But, I mean, you need to do that for yourself at the big league level, don't you?
I do. I mean, that's the key, to stay out there with your teammates and help them out the best you can. And, being hurt, it's tough because you're not out there with your teammates using it every day or even, going on the DL. So the goal is always to stay healthy and, give the best you can for your teammates.
Well, people don't realize, I mean, when you're a player and you do spend any time on the DL, you don't feel a part of the ball club. I mean, it's like you're a castaway.
It is. You're in there early before everybody gets there, and sometimes you go home and you have to come back later for the game, so you don't get to, see your teammates as much as you usually do. So, you kind of feel left out of the loop, and it's hard to get that experience back. But then once you come back like I am this year with spring, just being there healthy again, it's all smiles.
Well, I'm looking forward to you in that leadoff spot where you're going to get 5 at-bats a game. You see him smile when I said leadoff. I mean, I understand what you're saying, man, so that's got to be a lot of fun up top.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, in the minor leagues, that's where I was most comfortable, is just hitting leadoff and, trying to set the tone and the table. And I just look forward to doing that this year again.
Michael, the one thing we noticed last year especially, it didn't really matter if you were hitting leadoff or not, but you're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. You're not afraid to go deep into a count. Did you feel like having a year under your belt now, you've got even more of a book now on some of these starting pitchers and relievers that you faced a year ago?
You nailed it right on the head. That's the biggest key for me is I got to face a lot of the pitchers I'm going to face again this year. And, of course, they make adjustments to you, but you get to make adjustments to them. And just seeing them, seeing their tendencies, seeing what they like to do with the different arm slots, it just gives you an advantage, getting that almost full year under my belt last year.
How much coaching do you get from Dad, who sits at home and I'm sure watches your at-bats? Because I talked to him once last year, and I'm sure he keeps his eye on you all the time, doesn't he?
He doesn't miss a game. He actually records every game and just kind of gives me some pointers at the end of the game, or we'll talk the next morning just to see what he what he saw in my swing, or what maybe I did right and what I did wrong. It's so nice to have a father there that knows the game so well that can just help me out every time.
And I'm sure you've got confidence in him that he knows what he's talking about, so it's good for you.
Yeah, it's great for me. As a kid, you didn't want to always listen to your father.
Right.
But
that's
now
what I
I'm
never
older
did.
and seen it. I'm older and seen it now. I mean, his words and everything just helped me out so much to where I am today.
2-2 pitch to Russ Kanzler. And then a tapper foul. What about Kenny Lofton? Now, did he give you a grade based on your performance a year ago? I know you spent a lot of time with him last spring training, trying to pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, I was picking his brain this year as well. He was in camp. We were talking about some base stealing and some tendencies that he had and that he liked to pick up on. And we just worked on some drills. He'll be back again soon before the end of camp. So I look forward to working with him again.
You know, that's we were just talking a moment ago about Orlando Hudson, who had a career high last year with 19 stolen bases. The art of the stolen bases, it just, you know, you look at the numbers that Kenny Lofton put up as stolen bases they're out of this world compared to what we see nowadays. Do you look at a number, Michael, as far as, hey, I'd love to steal X number of bags this year?
Yeah, I have goals. I have goals, you know, from average to home runs to everything. You know, the goals are high, and that's what, you know, you're trying to achieve each and every year. But those goals are personal goals, you know, and then you got to really think about the team. It's more about the team first. Right. So you got to pick your spots and time that you're going to steal bases. And just look forward to being a little more aggressive this year on the base pass.
Well, that's what I say. You know what? A stolen base, if you need it during the course of the game, that's when you can steal it. I mean, if you're up 6-1 or 7-1 in a ball game and you steal a base, those really don't mean anything. And stealing a base is an art. And, I mean, a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, it's very much an art. So it has a lot to do with timing and seeing pitchers. And I mean, there's so much that goes behind base stealing, counts. I mean, you know, some of the average fans don't always see. Just steal the base, just steal the base. But you got to pick your times and places, else you're going to get thrown out a lot.
Well, they pitch out, and I mean, they throw to first base 2-3 consecutive times if they know you can steal. So, yeah, I mean, that's something you certainly do have to work on.
Kansler swats one to center, but it's caught by Will Venable to end the inning. Michael, thanks for your time. Good luck this year.
Thank you guys for having me. I very much appreciate it.
It's Indians outfielder Michael Brantley. It's 1-0 San Diego after 2. Top of the third, lots of folks out catching some rays here in Goodyear, Arizona.
Well, that's a spot that is loved out here by people in Arizona. They get on the berm out there and watch a ball game, lay in the sun.
Jesus Guzman will lead off for San Diego. Masterson with a breaking ball missing. Guzman singled and scored the only run of this game in the first inning. He'll be followed by Kyle Blanks and Yonder Alonso. Matt Underwood with Rick Manning. It's outside 2-0. High fly ball in the left center. PA, the center fielder, calling for it. And he's got it for our number 1.
All right, the excitement is building for Indians baseball at Progressive Field. There's no better time than to get your season tickets. Guaranteed the best seat locations, an unbeatable atmosphere, and special perks all season long. Call 216-420-HITS and speak with a season ticket representative or log on to Indians.com today.
Kyle Blanks hit by a pitch his first time up. Looks at one in their dirt. Masterson deals. And a fastball in there for a strike. A season ago, San Diego was 71-91, dead last in the NL West. And blanks down to count 1-2. But as you said, Rick, they made a lot of moves. Josh Burns, GM, trying to shake things up, trying to speed up the rebuild, if you will. Picking up Yonder Alonso, as we mentioned. They also acquired Carlos Quentin, who we saw for years with the Chicago White Sox, who you would think will give them a little bit of offensive help.
Well, in that ballpark, it's tough to hit home runs right-handed. But Quentin, he's a born in San Diego guy, so he's going home, and it's a new start for him.
Fourth strikeout for Justin Masterson. His only problem has been after he retires the first 2 men of each inning.
Yeah. Now we see a couple of hits, and he's been able to get out of it. But
also a new arrival in San Diego is Houston Street. And you mentioned they lost Heath Bell. There's a ground ball to third and a nice pick by Lonnie Chisenhall. And the Padres go 1-2-3. Justin Masterson allowing just 1 run in his 3 innings of work here today. Padres lead it 1-0. Back here in Goodyear, San Diego with a 1-0 lead heading to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Matt Laporta, Lou Marson, and Felix Piedue up for the Indians. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and now joined by Indians pitcher Derek Lowe, who came to the Tribe in the offseason after a trade with Atlanta. And from what I've seen so far, Derek, you know, from an outsider, if they were to walk into the Indians clubhouse, they'd probably think you've been here your whole career. You've walked in, you fit in just seamlessly almost. What's enabled you to just kind of slide right in here?
Well, you know, I may be 38, but I'm a serious kid at heart, and so I just like to have a good time, mess around. I don't take it too seriously, and I think it enables you to kind of slide into any situation and feel comfortable.
Well, Derek, what you bring to him, I mean, you're going into a young rotation with the likes of Masterson and Jimenez and a couple of guys around here, Josh Tomlin. You get an opportunity to really show these guys the ropes. And, you know, I mean, you're a guy that goes out there and toes the rubber every 5th day, and you can show these guys some things, can't you?
Yeah, I kid them. I said I can show you stuff the 4 days, but just don't watch me pitch on the 5th day, because that's when I got to learn from them. But you know, all kidding aside, I mean, it's fun to be part of a young and upcoming staff. Just kind of, you know, again, I learn as much from them as maybe they learn from me. But you know, the main thing is to be able to stay on the field, and I think that's the hardest thing to learn as a young pitcher, is to what you have to do in between your starts. And I think that's something somewhere maybe I can help.
I see the big guy Masterson there
it's unbelievable, isn't it?
He's trying to.
I mean, God, all he wants to do is talk about how great his sinker was today, and God, he mixed in some change-ups. He nailed it. But no, it's been going good. We've, you know, I always say every year, you know, you want to be able to leave here with the right 25 guys, and you know, we had a few speed bumps with a couple guys, and hopefully we can make the next 3 weeks with no setbacks.
Justin just said early in camp, people want to compare the two of you. He said, other than the fact that we're both tall, there really isn't any comparison.
And it's actually the weird thing is he's a lot younger than me. He has no hair, and I still have my hair. So I have one up on him.
He's going to be growing that beard before you know it.
I know, but it'll be fun to watch all these guys, and I think it's their year last year was very similar to mine. The last 6 weeks didn't work out the way they wanted, and so both this Cleveland and myself have a lot to prove this year, and we believe in our team, and maybe a lot of people outside aren't doing cartwheels about us, but we believe in ourselves, and we'll be there in September.
Derek, is there anything? Have you gone back over it to pinpoint what went wrong for you down the stretch in the month of September last year?
Roger McDowell, the pitching coach in Atlanta, I mean, we saw it mechanically. It was, when you don't have any sink, and when you sinkers flat with no deception, you're going to struggle. And we saw it on video. I just couldn't stop it. So, it's something that we worked hard in the offseason to kind of figure out to where you won't have those problems again. And not to say you're not going to struggle here and there, but last year is behind us, and we look forward to this year.
Well, you started in the American League, over to the National League the last 7 years. Are you happy to get back to this side?
Yeah, I am. Obviously a lot of the guys are different, but the one thing I like about the American League is you don't have to worry about when your at bat comes up. As far as dictating. You fall behind early in the game, you're pretty much guaranteed the 5th inning you're going to be out of the game. So I look forward to, again, letting the game dictate when you come out.
Well, that's a good point, because you can fall behind 3 or 4-0 early, and you're going to be gone in the 5th inning of the National League, where you can stay in there and you give that manager 7 innings. That's still going to be a good start if you struggle early in this league.
Yeah, it's a weird thing in the National League. I kid people all the time, and sometimes you're actually rooting for the guy in front of you on your own team to get out. In the 5th inning, if he gets a leadoff double, you're out of the game. You're actually hoping he gets out so you have a chance to stay in the game.
Derek, born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan, he told me a couple of weeks ago it's going to be tough to sway some of the family members to wear the Cleveland Indians.
I'm still trying. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I bought a lot of my family members Cleveland Indian stuff. Sorry, they're huge Detroit Tiger fans, and it's going to be tough. But I mean, you got to have some allegiance to your old son, you think?
That's right. Well, you'll win them over as the season goes on.
Yeah, just beat Verlander maybe a couple times.
Yeah, beat Verlander, and you got to get a couple of big outs with Miggy and that other guy over at first base.
I think that's the only way it's going to work.
Felix PA with 2 down and a 3-2 count. Now he steps away. Have you sized up the American League Central Division as far as the competition? Who you're looking at, who you'll be facing this year?
Well, I definitely, you got to start with Detroit, not just, from what they had last year, but obviously adding Prince, Fister, they'll be able to get, a few more starts out of him. So, it starts there, but, I was with those Red Sox teams where everyone just talked about the Yankees every year, too, so I kind of understand that being, second fiddle in the media's eyes sometimes not too bad.
Derek, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate your time. Good luck this year.
You got it.
That's Derek Lowe, and we've got a 1-0 San Diego lead going to the 4th inning in Goodyear. One 1-0 San Diego, 4th inning. here in Goodyear. And Joe Smith coming on now to pitch for the Indians. Justin Masterson went 3 innings, allowing 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 4. So he departs. His day is over. And now Joe Smith into the ball game, the right-handed side armor.
And what a year this guy had last year. I mean, he was terrific. He got left-handers out at a better pace than he did righties, and you know he can be awfully tough, but he was not afraid to go inside. And really, I mean, the best fielding pitcher the Indians have is this guy right here. Did a terrific job, and you know, hopefully he can come back and duplicate that year that he had for Manny last year. I mean, he was a perfect. I mean, he started out, if you remember, he had a little oblique strain last spring and missed the first couple of weeks of the season. And by that time, they already had their setup roles going on, you know, with what was happening. But he fit into that 7th inning role, or sometimes a 6th inning role, and just never fell out of it. He was terrific.
Jeremy Hermita takes a look at a ball down low. It's 2-0. Hermita struck out his first time up. Joe Smith told me it was actually a blessing in disguise a year ago with that oblique strain, because he said by the time he came back, he just kind of fell right into the role of one of the early setup guys, and it enabled him to kind of get his feet under him, and he flourished.
Well, early setup guys. Back in the day when Gary Bell pitched, they were just bullpen guys, just relievers. Yeah, there's setup guys. Now there's closers, setup guys, early setup guys. I mean, however you want to phrase it. Yeah, no, the long man is a guy that couldn't make this starting pitcher, couldn't become a starting pitcher.
Gary Bell watching back home in San Antonio, Texas.
We got his message already, and he wishes he was out here, but you know what? We released you, son. And I mean for fantasy camp, too.
Smashed to second, fielded cleanly by Lopez. And that's out number 1.
Well, you can save big at Progressive Field with Indians Flex Packs, presented by Discount Drug Mart. You use 10 games however you want. Take a group of 10 to 1 game, or you can take a friend to 5. Now you figure it out how you want to do the math, or you can go to 10 games by yourself, and that's probably the way I'm going, 10 by myself. Now call 216-420-HITS, log on to Indians.com, or visit Discount Drug Mart locations and get yours today.
Lone Wolf, that's you.
That's Lone Wolf.
Here's Jason Bartlett. He hit a little tapper back to the mound on a check swing his first time up. Bartlett and Orlando Hudson give the Padres a pretty good keystone combo up the middle. A couple of veteran guys who solid defensively.
Well, this guy started out with Minnesota Twins as well, was a good shortstop, went down to Tampa, had a good year, and has just moved along. This guy, he's a good baseball player, defensively, offensively.
In there for a strike. It's 3-1. Too many times, just because of the way baseball is built, if you focus too much on the numbers, you might lose sight of how good a player actually is. I mean, his batting average, people say, oh, his batting average is declining. Well, you play in Petco Park, there aren't many batting averages that go up when you play a lot in San Diego. Struck him out. 2 down.
Well, he comes back, Joe Smith, from 3-0 and gets him, retires him. There's that sinker. Little two-seam fastball. You can see the movement from the side, and gets Bartlett to swing over the top of it.
James Darnell called out on strikes his first time up.
Well, you talk about numbers, and it is a numbers game, but people get so wrapped up into it now on what you can do. You need guys out there that play off of each other. The team aspect. You know, it doesn't matter. Everybody's not going to hit for 300, and you know, everyone's not going to be perfect, and everybody's not going to drive in 100 runs, but you just have to play as a team. Move runners over. Make the plays defensively. Get outs when you need them. And that's a good approach right there to a sinker baller like Joe Smith. If you're a right-handed batter, take him the other way, stay on the ball as quickly as possible. You try and pull that pitch and eat you up on your thumbs.
Baker lifts a fly ball to left. Kanzler's out of room. It's a long foul for strike one. Baker a 2-out single his first time up. And as you see Justin Masterson.
Well, we know that's not Derek Lowe because he doesn't have hair.
Getting that sprint work in.
That's spring training, isn't it? Get your sprints in. They have 8 fields back there at the complex, but you do it on the game field.
That's blooped to left and that base hit. Darnell will go to third. Padres at the corners with 2 down here in the 4th.
Well, what is it? All of San Diego's hits today. It's been 2 outs and then 2 base hits in the inning to keep it going. This is the 3rd time out of 4 innings. That was a flat sinker there. It stayed middle of the plate, and he goes the other way. So it's back-to-back singles with 2 outs. And bring you right back up to the top of the lineup.
Will Venable struck out his first time up, and then he doubled to right field in the 2nd inning. Goes the other way by Cabrera, and another 2-out hit. This drives home Darnell. On his way to third goes Baker. He's in with a head-first dive, and San Diego now leads it 2-0 with 3 consecutive 2-out singles.
Well, again, early in the count, you look for something hard, a fastball, and he gets it, and another one left up. The movement not there, and they just take it the other way. So out of their 7 hits, 6 of them have been singles. The 1 double, that was by Venable back in the 2nd inning.
Orlando Hudson looks at a ball inside. He's 0 for 2 today.
There you go. He wasn't talking the first time. Now he's just talking to himself in the batter's box.
It's hit to right down the line, but looking fine. One ball, 1 strike. Good crowd on hand here for this game between the Indians and the Padres. The weather here in Arizona has really been spectacular since spring training camps open, and I know you live out here in the winter, and you said it's been like this all winter long. Throw down to second base, and it gets into center field. Another run comes home. Baker scores. Venable goes to third. Venable was a dead duck at second base. But Marson's throw, bouncing in front of the bag, took a kind of a funny hop on his dribble Cabrera.
Now it'll go as a stolen base, but an error. And normally, look, they're not trying to double steal here. They're just working the stolen base, and 9 times out of 10, you know, Lou Marson's going to throw that guy out at second base. But it was a bad throw. He short hops him. That's why it's spring training. It gets into center field, and the Padres add another run.
So 3-0 San Diego with a runner at third and 2 down. Orlando Hudson now down, or actually kind of even now at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good pitch.
Got him on a check swing. A glance off the bat. Marson hangs on, and the inning is over. But San Diego continues the 2-out damage here today. Padres lead it 3-0. Dustin Mosley went 3 scoreless innings for San Diego, allowing just 1 hit. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 3. Juan Oramas coming in now, left-hander. Spent last year at AA San Antonio. So he'll be facing the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Indians. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you here in Goodyear, and we're happy to be joined this inning by Indians right-hander Frank Herrmann, who had a stellar season out of the Tribe's bullpen a year ago. Frank, how you doing?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Big Frank, what's going on, man?
Not much. Enjoying this Arizona weather. It's beautiful out here, huh?
It has. We were just talking about that last inning, how nice it has been out here this spring. No rain and ready to get going and get you in shape. Right?
That's right. STO's in town. We're ready to roll now.
You know, Frank, when you look at the Indians ball club, I think most fans coming in say, well, you got a little bit of a battle over there at third base. We'll see what's going to happen at first, although they end up signing Casey Kochman late in the offseason. And then you look at the rotation. Maybe there's a spot open there. Then you look at the bullpen. A couple spots open there. You're in the mix, obviously. What's your view as far as fighting for a job? You told me earlier in spring, hey, I've had to fight for every job on every team I've ever played for.
That's right. I feel like I've always had to sing for my supper, and I'm fine with that. I'm no stranger to competition, and I think it brings out the best in guys. So, and when you're out there, you're not thinking about what other guys are doing. You're just thinking about what yourself and trying to get the hitter out.
Well, and you did that last year. There were times where, Manny called upon you. You had to go some distance and give him some innings, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 innings. And one game in Cincinnati comes to mind when back then Carmona got hurt. You did a terrific job holding them in. And that's pretty much what is open on this team right now as far as the bullpen goes, right? Multiple innings.
Yeah, it looks that way, especially early in the season. Starters aren't stretched out as much. So,
right.
But I would do whatever the team needed, whatever role I can fill, I will do to the best of my ability. And if it's giving us some length, then so be it.
As Drupal Cabrera looks at the ball down and in. Frank, for fans who, obviously haven't played at the major leagues and don't understand what it's like to go up, go down, go back, get the call up, go back again. I mean, I think you were up and down 4 different times last year. How does that weigh on you? Emotionally, when we understand what you got to do when you take the ball physically, but just the emotional back and forth, the yo-yo, riding that during the season.
Yeah, well, it doesn't wear off. Every time you get called up, it's a great feeling. It really is like the first time, because this is ultimately what everybody wants. They want to be up here in the big league. So, every time I got that call, I was excited last year. I think, it all happened within the first month and a half. And I talked to guys out in the pen. CP did it. A lot of guys did it before in the past, the up and down thing. And it's just part of the game. It's part of the process. And I think I'm a better pitcher for having gone through it.
Down to the third, knocked down by Darnell, recovers and still throws him out. One down here in the fourth. There's Drupal Cabrera now 0 for 2. We'll take another look.
Well, he boots the ball, but he stays with it. And he shows a good arm to throw out Cabrera at first base. This one right over the bag, but it didn't get far away. He didn't panic and throws a seed to first base to retire as Drupal.
That'll bring up Shin-Soo Choo, who had a double with 2 down in the first inning. The only hit so far today for the Tribe. And Frank, I know everybody on the team, pitchers especially, you want to have runs, you want to have support, and you're hoping that you can keep guys like Choo on the field and in the lineup every day, because his absence last year was pretty big.
Oh, huge. He's a 5-tool guy. Every time he's out there, he makes an impact. We were all, high-fiving a little bit out there when we saw that double. It's good to see him on track.
I love the fact that Frank drops the 5-tool reference in there. You can tell he's a fantasy football player.
Yeah, here we go.
He's got the lingo going already.
I was hoping that would come up.
See, now you guys go ahead. I want to hear about this. Who finished higher?
I don't have a leg to stand on in this argument.
Yeah, that's right. I wrapped it. Oh, there we go.
Choo with a bomb to deep center and way out of here.
Yeah.
It's okay. I want to hear it. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, Choo just stole my spotlight. And thanks for that, Choo.
Yeah, we'll let him run the bases, but I want to hear.
Yeah, I wrapped up my 2nd consecutive fantasy championship this year.
Well, congratulations.
Took out Hafner. Hafner was a perennial front runner, but I took him down this year. I definitely put a lot of time into it. I'm not going to act like I just roll out of bed and know my stuff, but I love it. It's one of my off-season hobbies. It keeps the competitive fire going in the off-season, and I don't move too much from the couch on a Sunday. My wife hates it, but
Well, Chu got himself a fastball right there and gave it a ride, and that's why you want him on the field, to see that swing right there.
Absolutely.
And Frank Herrmann wants me in the league because I'm what you call an easy mark.
Fish. You're one of those fish. He just reels you in.
I can't understand why he's always texting me. He's always wanting to talk.
Oh, always.
And now I understand why.
It's a 24-hour gig. I tell everybody that.
Well, good. Get in his pocket. I can't wait.
That's right.
Hey, Frank, what'd you do? Anything special this winter to get yourself ready for the year as far as working on your game? Because we know you've got a good fastball. You can throw 94, 95 miles an hour. What do you do to improve your game in the offseason?
Yeah, secondary stuff is always a work in progress for me. I've got a good arm. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get my feel for that secondary stuff, but it's, I started my throwing program a little earlier so that when I got here, I could immediately get into the breaking balls and the split finger fastball.
That's the split, something you were working on last year, wasn't it? Wasn't that a field pitch? But you got to really have confidence to throw that in a game.
That's the thing. Yeah, you got to trust it. A lot of guys say that and you don't know what it really is, but when you're out there, you grip it and you say, hey, I'm going to live and die with this. I'm going to throw it as hard as I can. Yeah. It takes a little while, but I'm confident I'll get there.
Is that a pitch that can be a big difference maker for you, or is it just a pitch that gives a hitter something else to think about?
Yeah, I think it could be a big difference maker. You're a guy like Mike Scott, whose career went from mediocre maybe to elite all of a sudden. So it can happen quickly, and I'm hopeful of that. I'm going to keep working until it does.
I agree with you. It'll make a huge difference because, they're going to sit there. If you can't prove you can throw it for a strike every now and then, if you're only going to face him once or twice in that lineup at the most, it makes a huge difference. So it's a matter of confidence in throwing that pitch, because as a hitter, that gives him another pitch he has to look at. And then when he's looking for that little splitter, you can throw that 94 right by him. He's not even going to swing it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it gives your fastball a little length.
Absolutely.
They got a split second longer. So, yeah, I've been working with Steve Carsey out here a little bit. He's been a great guy, great help.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Steve has been out here, and he knows, because he was in that that role out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and he said how it's kind of changed the trajectory of his career a little bit. So, I'm hopeful he'll do the same for me. But it's it's one day at a time, and just kind of getting comfortable with it, and then getting the confidence in it.
0-1 pitch to Lonnie Chisenhall.
How is it for you guys to have Scott Radinsky, knowing him out of that bullpen next year, going right in, and now he's the pitching coach, and now you have Dave Miller out there?
Right.
What's going to be the difference, if there is going to be any?
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty seamless transition. Rad and Belts work pretty close together.
Right.
We all love Rad here. I think he'll be able to help Manny a little bit with having the experience of the bullpen with us out there as far as who's good for what spot. And I know Manny has faith in him. And then Dave, I've been in this organization 7 years. Dave's been here the whole time with me, and he's been great in helping me with my career.
Well, Frank, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Frank.
See you later.
It's a 3-1 ball game now after the Shin-Soo Choo homer, as we played 4 innings. Spring Training Baseball is brought to you by Taco Bell and the new Doritos Loco Tacos. It's crazy good.
Competition still flows in between innings, doesn't it? It's funny.
Tell you what, that fantasy football league is very intense.
Boy, I guess it is. You already got a text message on it, didn't you, in between innings?
Frank, well, when you win it, you don't make many friends.
Well, you shouldn't, but it doesn't matter because you win. You never have friends when you win. Only losers have friends.
Where are all your friends at?
I don't have it.
Okay. Vinny Pastano, 67 appearances a year ago. Dynamite season. Guy who really emerged as a key member of the Indians bullpen in that setup role from the right side, 2.32 ERA.
You know, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens with Chris Perez the rest of the way. But if Perez isn't ready to start opening day, this guy's going to end up closing games for Maniac and the Indians early this year. So, I mean, it's not a given because we'll have to wait and see what happens to Chris Perez. Still a while to go, and they don't feel like it's going to take him many opportunities to get ready for the year. But let's wait and see.
Yeah. Jesus Guzman, Kyle Blanks, Yonder Alonso due up for the Padres here in the 5th.
I mean, yeah, this guy gives you a different look, and that's the one thing I liked about the Indians bullpen last year, the different looks. We had Joe Smith prior to him. He's a little more from down at the side or even from down under. This guy gives you 3/4 and slings that fastball, and it's tough to pick up because you see a lot of late swings.
Yes.
And it's not like he's throwing 96 miles an hour, but he gets up there 92, 93, and the ball's by him. So it's tough to pick up. And he's very aggressive. He comes right at you.
This is a prime example of what you're talking about. Guzman, the swing is late. He's just throwing it right by him.
You know, and that tells me that it's tough for the hitter to pick up his pitch wherever he's releasing it at or just getting out of his hand. By the time they see it, it's on him. And that's a jam shot.
Yeah, looped in the right center for a hit. And that's the first hit for San Diego today with less than 2 out.
And here's a pitch that he wants it away, and he misses inside. That one actually right down the middle. But with 2 strikes, that's why hitting coaches tell you as a hitter, try and put the ball in place. Good things can happen when you do that. Well, it happened right there. Found a hole.
Kyle Blanks hit by a pitch his first time up, struck out in the 3rd. Threw it by him right there.
Another reason why a lot of people they like Vinny is that he's a strikeout guy. You know, you come in late and he can get you the strikeout when you have those runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs.
Popped him up. Oh boy. Might be playable. Laporta over to the railing, and now it's Marson who reached in, had a glove on it, but could not squeeze it. Matt Laporta, man, it was tumbling over the railing.
It was Marson that got leather on.
Yeah.
I mean, Laporta was coming in, and they're looking up into the sun, and it is bright. And you see where Marson gets over there. He's leaning in. In comes Laporta, and then Laporta's going to fall in. It ends up hitting Lou Marson's catcher's mitt. Second time Laporta's been down. First time over at first base on the Masterson throw, this time into the dugout.
No worse for the wear. He's all right. 2-strike pitch. A little bit high. During the offseason, Matt made a pilgrimage down to Haiti with Sports Time Ohio President Jim Liberatore. He said it was an eye-opening experience. Towering pop to left field. PA and Kansler converge. PA takes it. Moore's out number 1. Sports Time Ohio is your home for the Ohio High School Athletic Association, and this weekend on STO, hockey takes center ice. Tonight turn to STO for the semifinals starting at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday at 5 it's the championship game.
Busy weekend on STO, huh? You had basketball today. You got a little tribe action going on. One of 6 games we'll televise this spring.
6 games in the next 10 days.
So gotta love it. Well, we need spring training as well. The boys in the truck, they did their spring training drills today, didn't they?
That was a fire drill, I think.
Yes, it was. As always, it can be early in the year.
There were a lot of people hollering, walkie-talkies.
But we believe you can see us and hear us back home. If you can, that's a credit to the boys you don't see in the truck.
Yonder Alonso 1 for 2, a 2-out RBI single in the first. Castano straightens him up. Pistano deals, and it's fouled back. Vinny Pistano, like so many in this new generation of professional athletes, has really taken to the Twitter phenomenon. He has a huge following, and he really enjoys interacting with the fans and the people who send him messages. Both he and Jason Kipnis, along with Chris Perez. Now the 1-2 pitch. A little bit outside, 2-2.
Are you a Twitter guy? You tried that, right? A couple of years ago?
One is enough. I got the Facebook.
You're a Facebook. You're a Facebook friend.
Here's the 2-2. Runner goes, and it's fouled back. Now, there was a case where the runner, Guzman, he kind of got a rolling start.
Never stopped
Pistano
him.
never
Right.
made him stop.
Well, that's what you have to do as a pitcher. I saw that. It's what you call a walking lead, and that's exactly what Marson's going out to tell Pistano. He didn't even pay attention to him, and runners will take off. Not that the steal sign is on, but if you let them get that walking lead, they'll continue to go, and it's easy for them to steal. You just make them stop.
Runner at first with one out here in the fifth, and a 2-2 count. Bang foul. Rick mentioning one of 6 games we will televise on Sports Time Ohio. Our next game will come on Monday when the Indians take on Arizona.
Well, Tuesday we get the Texas Rangers. We get the young phenom from coming over from Japan.
Yeah, we'll see Yu Darvish scheduled to pitch in that game. They have 100 media people just following Yu Darvish.
Well, Bart Swain's got to set up a an extra space.
Got to rent another press box.
Yeah, how about that? Well, they can throw our press out of there and put them in. They can just sit in the seats, for goodness sakes. But anyway, yeah, we're working today. They give us tomorrow off. They don't let us go 2 days in a row early in the spring.
Deep drive to left. Kinsler back to the wall, makes the catch. And on his way back to first is Jesus Guzman. And we've got 2 down. Yonder Alonso with a deep fly to left field.
Well, this is his first start in left field. And, you know, if you're not an outfield, you can tell that glove is a new glove for him. You can see. If I'm an outfielder, if I'm normally an infielder and I'm playing the outfield, I get a bigger glove than that. Because you want all the help you can get. That's a new Wilson. I guarantee it's not broken in all the way, but he makes the catch. That's all you have to do out here in this bright sunshine.
What is the limit, Rick? Is it?
I think it's 12.
12 3/4 inches?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It used to be 13. They used to be able to be a little bigger. I think it's 12 and a half, something like that.
Jeremy Hermida hit by the pitch. Guzman heads down to second. So 2 on, 2 out. On the ricochet, got a piece of Marson as well.
We see that happen a lot. When guys get hit, that ball ricochets and gets the catcher, the umpire, and we see 2 or 3 guys hobbling after one guy gets hit.
Yeah, that was just a glancing blow to Hermida.
Deflection.
Marson took the brunt. Here's Jason Bartlett, 0 for 2 on the day. With 2 on and 2 out. San Diego with a 3-0 lead here in the 5th inning. Popped him up. Going to be a tough play, though. Lopez looking up into the sun, makes the grab. So a scoreless 5th inning for Vinny Pistano. And we'll go to the home half of the 5th. San Diego 3, Cleveland nothing. Hattie Larlam. Charity back in Cleveland, Ohio. They're out here in Arizona.
Well, you spent some time with them at the golf outing yesterday.
Yeah, they had a charity golf event yesterday. Hattie Larlam inspires people with developmental disabilities to dream, achieve, and discover themselves. And as I mentioned, they do great work back in northeastern Ohio. And they want to get an operation up and going here in Arizona as well. You saw the pitchers departing.
Mass exit. That's the 5th inning, and you're playing a National League team. They are allowed to leave now.
And now we'll start to see some changes on both sides as we get into the middle and late innings. We saw Andy Perino now at shortstop. Foul ball off the bat of Russ Kanzler. Kanzler flied to center his first time up. Juan Oramas worked the 4th inning, gave up the solo home run to Shin-Soo Choo. Off the end of the bat foul, and it's 0-2 on Kanzler. Russ Kanzler really, until last year, even in the minor leagues, never had an opportunity to be an everyday player. He was always kind of a bench guy working in here and there. But when he got that opportunity, Rick, last year to be an everyday regular, he flourished and won the AAA MVP.
Well, the one thing you do when you put numbers up at the minor league level as far as the offense goes, that's going to get you a look at the big league level. Now that's the first step. Then you have to find a position that you can play, because when you get to the big league level, you have to do more than just hit.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go back to the day, if you remember Manny Ramirez, when they brought him up when he was a kid. They were afraid of him. He couldn't play right field, but the guy could hit. You find a place for guys that can hit, and hopefully you can get him a defensive position, or you can at least find one. But now that the Indians signed a first baseman, which Kanzler's, that's his normal position, he's going to have to make it elsewhere, especially when you have Travis DHing as the left-hander. You would like right-handed bats on there, but there's only 25 spots.
Now the 1-2. Back out of play. "25 spots. You've only got 33 spring training games to sort through all of the various players that you've brought into camp."
What were there? 62 guys. I mean, they had 22 invitees to Major League camp.
Padres have 61. So this may be more of a new day trend in Major League Baseball, where teams are bringing more players in to get a look.
And what they have to do, I think, when you're looking at players, they have to find out, because some of your veteran players that come in here and sign as a spring training invitee have outs in their contract. Some of them maybe before the end of spring, where if you're not going to keep them, that they have an opportunity to go and lock on with everybody else. But every team breaking camp is in the same boat.
Yeah.
You got to get down to your 25 guys you want to break with, and then something will shake loose. But just because you break, and this is something we could talk to Chris Antonetti about, because he's going to come on in the 7th inning up here. You have to figure out who you're going to keep. Oh, that was right on the nose.
He hit a laser to Venable in center field, but that's out number 1. It's going to bring up Matt Laporta. 0 for 1 here today. And Oramas deals. Strike on the outside corner. One might think that Matt Laporta is dealing with a lot of nerves and anxiety about his situation with the ball club, but he's really got a very level-headed approach. He understands that he's got to produce with the bat. There's a high pop left field, and it's going to find the seats.
Well, yeah, you've been around long enough. He's got to prove it. He's one of those guys that came from Milwaukee in that CC Sabathia trade, and there's only so many opportunities you can get. I mean, he wasn't given the chance, hey, here's your job. You're going to play every day and go get it. And I mean, here's 4 at-bats, and we don't care. You know, you might struggle for a while. We're going to see what you can do. But it's down to that point now where, you know, by all rights, you feel he's going to start in Columbus because the options are left. He has an option left.
Right back to the screen. 1-2. With Laporta, like so many young players, you see flashes of it.
But yeah, the key is consistency.
Yeah.
At this level, you have to be consistent. But it's tough to be consistent when you don't get consistent time at bats at the major league level. You know, a lot of times we see it, and that's what happens when young players platoon, is that, you know, they feel they have to go 2 for 4 or get 2 hits every day they play, or they're going to get sent out anyway.
Hit to right, dead into the teeth of the wind, and Herrmann makes the catch. 2 down.
All right, Tribe Baseball now at Progressive Field. Now that it's getting started, one better time to get your season tickets, and you can enjoy special perks like the free Terrace Club membership and so much more this year. So call 216-420-HITS, speak to a season ticket rep, or log on to Indians.com today.
In for a strike to Lowe Marson, who grounded to short his first time up. Down too low. Two-one delivery. Over the outside corner to even it up. Hit with 2 down for Lowe Marson.
Well, that's the 2-strike approach you see from Lowe Marson. That's not a bad approach with 2 strikes. This is one time that's where you want to see Lowe, where he can get the count in his favor, and don't take a swing like that where you try and turn on the baseball and hit it hard for a double in the left center field. But that was a 2-strike approach and a good one. 4th hit for the Indians.
Missed outside. Felix P.A. grounded to second his first time up, fly to center in his last trip. P.A., a guy in Baltimore who they had high hopes for, but offensively, he's never really put up the kind of numbers that they anticipated. Guzman will watch it drop in front of him. And stopping at second base is Lowe Marson. So 2 on with 2 out here in the 5th as the Indians try to answer back with some 2-out damage of their own. That's how the Padres have built their 3-0 lead today. And the Indians got the homer from Chu in the 4th, now threatening in the 5th.
LPA just slices it the other way. This ball stayed up quite a while. Guzman on the left did not make an attempt, probably thinking that ball was going to fall in, but he just stayed back on it. Goes as a base hit, so the inning will continue.
And as Drupal Cabrera 0 for 2 today, will step in. Towards second, and going to the seat of his pants, hanging on. Orlando Hudson looking right into the sun, made the grab, and the inning is over. 3-1 Padres after 5. It's crazy good. 3-1 Padres as we go to the 6th inning here in Goodyear, Arizona. Left-hander Scott Barnes now coming on to work for the Tribe. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you. Joined now by Indians hitting instructor Bruce Fields. And offensively today, Bruce, a little tough there in the early going, but Shin-Soo Choo got it started with a blast to deep center field, and obviously it's going to be nice to have his bat back in the lineup and hopefully all season long.
Oh yeah, he put a charge into that one. He had a good counter hit in, got through it over for him, and he didn't try and do too much. He stayed within himself and had a good swing on that one.
Well, Bruce, how is it for you this year? You're coming in, you get spring training. It's so much different than having to take over in the middle of the year where you can implement your philosophy to these guys and get ready to work for them right out of the chute, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely an advantage having the guys from the very beginning and talking about our approaches. And, we want to be aggressive but have a plan when we hit and, go up and have quality bats each and every time.
Offensively a year ago, Bruce, we talked about this. The struggles were certainly related to who was on the field and the number of injuries that you had. And just talk about, what that did to Asdrubal Cabrera and Carlos Santana, because some people want to point to, well, boy, look at Santana's average. Boy, we'll look at Cabrera the way he faded. But how much of that was brought on by the fact they were trying to carry the whole load?
Well, you just said it right there. I mean, they put a pressure on themselves to be the guys to create the offense for the team, especially when we brought up several young players to try and plug those holes on the injuries that we had. But you have to look at, Cabby had a breakout season with the 25 homers and 92 or 3 RBIs that he had. And then you look at, we got a foul ball, guys.
You're okay. Right. Don't worry about it.
Matt Laporte makes the grab.
But then you look at Santana in his first full season. Right. Catching, most of the time, and then going out and, on a bag, not a bag leg, but a fixed leg, a leg that was repaired by surgery the previous season, and to come back and play the whole season and produce as he did as a rookie, somewhat of a rookie, but he did an outstanding job. They both did. So, people can say what they want, and they're going to. Fans are fans, and the sports guys are the sports guys, and they're going to say what they want, but we know as a group, as a family, of what these guys meant to the lineup, and trying to produce day in and day out, and they did a great job at that.
Well, I know how important it is to have guys out there every day, because when you're talking about an offense, you're talking about guys that go out there and grind for each other day in and day out.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But then you need your big boys in the middle part of the lineup that are going to stay there. The guys that are paid to drive in the runs, the guys that are paid to move the runners, and just the little things that go on day in and day out. It's tough to do it when you're changing lineups every day.
Well, you're changing lineups, but then you're changing them with rookies. You know,
right.
Guys
young
that
players, right.
Really, the guys that came up, you know, you look at Lonnie, he's, 2-3 years removed from playing in college. Ezekiel Carrera came up. He had never had any experience. If he did, it was a cup of coffee here and there. Cord Phelps, same thing, fresh out of college, 2 years. Kipnis, same thing. But you look at their numbers in the end, they produced. They did well, and they competed, and what it did was it gave them valuable experience for the future, for this year. We hope, and we can move forward. But now with a bunch of healthy guys, it'll be interesting to see what we can do.
Now Scott Barnes delivers on the 2-2, and he strikes him out 2 down.
Any goals on your end as far as last year? It seemed like offensively, and it's 1 through 9, the strikeouts,
right,
compared to the walks.
Right.
I mean, you're going to want to make them work the count. You're going to want them to do little things. But I mean, that's easier said than done.
Well, I think, but there's ways to go about it in terms of cutting down the strikeouts and making the pitcher work and fouling off those tough pitches, but understanding and knowing your strike zone. I think that's a big thing that we try and talk about and work on for spring training. The first meeting we had, like I said, we're aggressive, but we have a plan up there, and that plan is we know thyself. As you guys know, Charlie used to say that, Charlie Manuel, and that's so important. You got to know what kind of hitter you are. You got to know what pitches you handle. All those things are important and that make up an at-bat. So I believe that, those are the things we're trying to work on with the guys and get them to understand and go out, execute, and but prepare daily. I think if we prepare properly, and that will be useful for us as we move forward.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because if a lot of it has to do, I guess, with personality. Because if you've got a guy who's a little bit hyper on the intense side, you can't ask him to necessarily go up there and work the count and try to go deep into at bats, because it's just not who he is.
If that's an aggressive guy, he's an aggressive guy, but I want him to be an aggressive guy within his strike zone. That will take care of itself. The strike zone will take care of itself if he doesn't try and do too much. If he's not trying to hit balls out of the park that you can't do it with. You can't hit every pitch, and that's the one thing I want to get guys to understand. Hit the pitches that you're supposed to hit. Don't miss those fastballs when they're there, because you've tried to do too much. So if we can get them to understand that, stay within themselves, it'll bode well for everyone.
Juan Diaz looked like he was going to glove this and end the inning, but handcuffed him there at the end.
Yeah, I think it kind of sailed on and tailed away from him a little bit off a left-handed bat.
Here's Orlando Hudson, 0 for 3 on the day. We're visiting with Indians hitting coach Bruce Fields. Bruce, Jason Kipnis rocked the baseball last year. I mean, he had some moments there where they were eye-opening in terms of what he was able to do. What are your realistic expectations for him this season?
The same.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He looked like a baseball player to me. I mean, he stepped up and he wasn't intimidated, was he?
No, he's not scared. He's kind of like Chase Utley mode, get in there, a dirt bag, as we call him, in a good way.
Good word. Yeah, I agree with that, a dirt bag in a good way.
He likes to get after it, and he plays hard, and he cares. He wants to win, and he wants to have success. And those are the kind of guys we like.
Well, Bruce, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
Indians hitting coach Bruce Fields. We go to the bottom of the 6th. San Diego 3, Cleveland 1. Diego as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Certainly sentiments that have been relayed from around the country after the tragic events in Chardon recently. Bottom half of the 6th, and on to pitch now for San Diego right-hander Luke Gregerson. 61 appearances last year and what, 2.75 ERA.
Well, yeah.
34 strikeouts in 55 and 2/3 innings work.
Bullpen, their pitching staff did a very, very good job for Bud Black. And now the Indians still down 2 runs here in the middle part of the game. The guy is responsible for the Indians' run today, going to lead it off.
Shin-Soo Choo 2 for 2 with a double in the 1st and that big home run in the 4th. And Luke Gregerson misses inside for ball 1.
Yeah, this is a big bat that Manny wants to hit 3rd in the lineup, and you know, he just had one of those years last year, an off year, and I think it was a very humbling year for Choo. But he has worked hard and looking forward to staying on the field, staying healthy, as all the Indians are. But this guy certainly can be an impact when he's hitting it in the number 3 hole. And you've got Cabrera moving up to number 2, and you can keep Santana 4. If Travis Hafner comes back, he's healthy. He's back down behind these guys.
2 balls and a strike for Choo. Down low. 3-1 the count. Gregerson deals. And that's ball 4. It's the first walk issued in this game.
You're right.
Back in the 4th inning, Will Venable with an RBI single with 2 outs. Made it a 2-0 game, and they would make it a 3-0 lead, and then Shin-Soo Choo with a home run, accounting for the only run of the game for the Tribe. 3-1, San Diego, that's where we stand. Chad Huffman now running for Shin-Soo Choo. Carlos Santana, towering pop in the left field. Guzman grabs it, 1 away. There's Choo, who double homered and walked in the game, and Chad Huffman comes on. Jose Lopez flied to left in the 2nd inning, singled his last time up. Lopez trying to earn a spot on the club as a utility man. Battling with Christian Guzman and of course Jason Donald. Taking a look at some of the changes now for San Diego.
Almost looked like Ryan Garko.
There's a hot smash to 3rd. Garko to 2nd for 1 on this. First a double play to end the inning. So the Padres go around the horn to finish the 6th. They lead it 3-1. in the 7th inning in Goodyear, Arizona. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and joined now by Indians general manager Chris Antonetti. Getting situated here in our booth.
We set him in the middle where he gets that pole in his way for the view.
Well, thanks for stopping by. How's the camp going so far from your perspective?
Good. After the first couple of days getting through some tough injury news, camp's gone pretty well so far. So obviously the play's been a little inconsistent, but that's typical this time of year. So hopefully we can tighten things up here a little bit in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is start camp in the first week. All you're talking about is injuries, but
well, especially after last year. I mean, when you went the year when everybody seemed to get hurt, especially in the outfield.
Yeah, last year I think at one point we lost our entire outfield, our second baseman, our third baseman, our DH, and 3/5 of our starting rotation. So
is that all?
Yeah, just that's it. So hopefully we can be a little bit healthier this year and be a little bit more consistent.
Matt Laporta over near the railing makes the catch. 1 down.
You come into it, Chris, and really when you look at things, only one starting spot open because you have the 4 in there. You maybe have 2 spots in the bullpen, and third base really,
and left field.
And left field. That's right. Now that left field. So, I mean, will all those go down to the wire?
Potentially. I think with each of those positions, we've got a number of options to try to work through in a short period of time. So I think we'll take the bulk of camp to try to figure those spots out.
Nice play.
Very nice play. And Blanks is out number 2. It's Gregorio Petit at second base. Or Pettit. You got to.
Petit.
Okay, Petit. Just want to make sure.
There, see. Oh my goodness.
Chris, was it specifically by design to bring in the numbers that you brought as 62 players into camp, or as I mentioned to Rick earlier, is this something that's just maybe a new trend in baseball?
Yeah, we didn't have a specific number in mind, but I think what was important for us as we looked to build our roster this winter was to bring in a quality group of alternatives and guys that had some major league experience that could come in and compete for some of the spots we had open. And in the event we had an injury or some guys didn't perform, we had some quality alternatives to turn to, not just in camp, but as the season progresses.
We were also talking about that. Now, do some of these guys have outs in their contract when you get close to, the end of spring, because they are invitees?
A few of them do. A few of them have the opportunity to elect free agency if they don't make the major league team. But a number of the other guys will, don't have outs until later in the year, so they'll provide us some depth early on. So, a couple of them, obviously, a number of them have a chance to make the team right out of the gate.
2 down, a runner at first. Jeremy Hermida at the plate. Scott Barnes in his second inning of work. This is outside for ball 1. Is there anybody in camp that came in terms of that left field? Let's take that for example, with a kind of a leg up on the competition, or do you look at it's a clean slate for everybody?
Well, we're certainly aware of guys' track records and their reports coming in, and their guys may have a certain pref order coming in. But when we have that competition, they're each going to get an opportunity to play, and that can change very quickly. I think it starts really with Shelley Duncan, a guy who did a very good job out there and the opportunities that he had last year. I think what he showed in September and even in August, that he's a very capable major league bat. So that's kind of the bar for the other guys to beat. And we've seen some good things from some of those candidates so far in camp.
Well, yeah, Shelley was the best bat coming off the bench for Manny last year when you look at pinch hitters, and really did separate himself when you look at September, where he hit for power and drove in runs. And do you think he can play every day?
I'm not sure if it's an everyday position for Shelley. I think one of the things you have to be mindful of guys that have been more part-time players is what spike in volume can they handle. But, Shelley certainly is capable of contributing maybe a little bit more than he did last year. And I think our focus is trying to put the best team on the field we can. And Manny feels that when he looks at the combination of offense and defense, if Shelley gives us the best opportunity to win the game, that's the guy that's going to be out there.
Nice pick by Luke Carlin, who's behind the plate now.
But as we've talked, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just about the bat and the offense. You have to consider all of the contributions, whether not only defensively, but how a guy runs the bases too. And all of those aspects will be part of the decision of who gets that opportunity on any given day. Because Our pitching staff, is a pitch to contact staff, so we're gonna have to play defense behind them, not only on the infield, but certainly in the outfield as well. So, as we look at left field and third base, the complete package will be what we're looking to.
There's a high pop to left. Kanzler backpedaling, and he puts it away to end the inning. We'll continue with Indians general manager Chris Antonetti. It's 3-1 San Diego after 6.5. It's a 3-1 San Diego lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And more changes on the field. Padres closer Houston Street is coming into the game now. See his numbers a year ago with Colorado. Of course, we remember the work he did while a member of the Oakland A's. Matt Clark takes over for Kyle Blanks at first base. He's not much smaller than Blanks. They've got a virtual front court over at first base. For the Indians, we got Andy LaRoche leading off, and then Russ Kanzler. A couple more changes defensively for San Diego. In the outfield, Jeff Decker takes over in left.
See, this is our guys in the truck just getting used to typing in the names in spring training. I know they don't have to do that a lot during the year.
So Andy LaRoche leading off for the Indians. And Houston Street delivers a little bit high for ball one. Oh, and Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. Well, they have the all-name team, don't they?
Some quality players in that group, though.
Chris Antonetti, Indians general manager, joining us once again as we scribble down all of the changes on the lineup card.
No, that's your job. You got to remember their names. I don't.
Yeah, I notice you're not writing much.
No, I tried. I can't keep up with them. I'll just watch the game. We'll let Matt have to pronounce them.
It'll be the left fielder, the catcher, the first baseman.
There you go, number 78.
Yeah.
Swung on and missed.
This is the second guy, LaRoche, now that you have in here. Duncan is another guy that I ended up playing with their fathers here in Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dave
I didn't
LaRoche
know you
used to
played
be
with
a
both
close.
guys.
Yes,
yeah,
I
didn't
did.
know you played with
yeah,
both.
and Dave Duncan, absolutely.
That's how we formulate our offseason strategy.
Yeah, bring it. Find you feel old. Pretty soon it'll be their grandkids.
We try to get a lot of information on guys coming in. I don't think we had that one, Arch.
I'll give it to you. I knew these kids when they were in diapers.
Two count.
You know, before you know it, 3 weeks and opening day is here. It is amazing.
It is right around the corner.
It comes around.
We've got some work to do before then, so we've got a couple decisions to make and tightening some things up defensively too. So, we need to take advantage of every day we have here.
But there's only so many B games you can play. I see one was canceled later in the spring. You had one, what?
We did. We were a little
or so.
We were a little short on pitching. We had a B game scheduled against Anaheim. We're working actually to get a B game a little bit later in camp when we have some of our starters stretched out, so we can see some of those guys in a more competitive setting. So we'll probably just end up flip-flopping the two.
And that's really what is set up for spring training, is getting the pitchers stretched out and
that's exactly
getting them innings so you can get a look at them, whether they pitch in a B game or an A game here at the big league park.
And we've got a bit of a challenge because we have so many starters competing for spots in the rotation early in camp when they're not stretched out. We're a little light on innings. But then when you get towards the end of camp and you want to get guys 4, 5, 6 innings and still allow them to compete, you're desperately looking for innings. So we'll try to get some additional games as we get towards the end of camp.
Do you throw them back down and let them pitch against your AAA team or a double A
team? We do.
Team?
One of the other things we've done is guys that have established themselves at the major league level, we may give them an opportunity to go and pitch against some minor leaguers, whether it's so they don't face maybe a team in our division.
Right. Russ Kanzler splits the alley. That's going to send LaRoche to third. He'll be waved home. Here's the throw. It's cut off. LaRoche scores on the double by Kanzler. And you see it firsthand why Russ Kanzler is now a member of the Indians organization. Coming over from Tampa in the offseason. Pretty good trade right there. A guy who was a AAA MVP a season ago. And we've already talked about just finding him a position is obviously the order of business now.
Russ is a guy that's got a very good approach at the plate. He uses the entire field, as we saw there. He uses right field, right center field, understands the count, situational awareness, and puts up a quality at bat. So he's got some defensive versatility. Can play first base where he's probably most comfortable. He's also played a little bit of third as well as some corner outfield.
Trevor Crowe comes in to pinch run now for Kanzler at second base. And Crowe obviously has had his injury problems. Is he all the way back?
He is. Yeah, Trevor he's fully healthy. Actually was contemplating playing winter ball, but ended up taking the offseason just to continue to strengthen himself. And he's going to come in, and a guy we still think has major league ability. He probably needs to go out and play and get regular at-bats, but we're hopeful that if we have a need during the course of the year, he's a guy that can potentially step in and fill it for us.
I was talking to Trevor earlier this spring, and he wants to prove it. He wants to show you guys that, hey, I was injured. I'm back to being healthy. He can play all three outfield spots. He's got a good arm. He's a switch hitter. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him get some at-bats, and maybe he can get back to where he once was.
We are, too. He's a guy, as you said, Arch. It's a switch hitter. He can run. He can throw. He actually has a little bit of power. He can play all three outfield spots. So he has ability. I think he now just needs to get healthy and get regular at-bats and continue to show what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, he's just a guy that's been off the radar because of injuries. And, I mean, these people, as a player, you find out, boy, when you're injured, people forget about you in a hurry. I mean, because you just can't go out there and play.
Well, I think for us, we certainly haven't forgotten about Trevor, but what we need to do is we need to make sure we build in guys with a little bit more certainty and guys that we know that may be able to contribute right out of the gate. So we're expecting Trevor to be able to contribute at some point for us, but it just may not be right at opening day. And that's why we have to bring in some of the other guys that we did.
But how many times, I mean, we break camp like last year in April. Your whole team's going to change when it comes to May, or at least it has the opportunity to.
I think someone said it the other day, the first team to get through the season with using 25 men will be the first.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why you guys plug in your 40 man, but it's amazing how fast it does change, especially early in the year with off days and things that happen.
Yep.
Well, dealing with injuries certainly is part of the general manager's duties and job responsibility, and you know that full well going in. What you've had to deal with the Fausto Carmona, now Roberto Hernandez situation was not in the manual when you signed up for this kind of work. What is the latest? What can you tell us with regards to him?
Well, as you said, it's a unique circumstance. It's not one that there's a whole lot of precedent for. And actually, even in the other case with the Marlins pitcher, it's still a little bit unique.
Crowe takes third base. Good stolen base by Crowe. The ball was dropped, so there's no chance of a play.
So the one thing we know is he's Roberto Hernandez, who's a little over 3 years older than we initially thought when he was Fausto Carmona. Beyond that now, it's a process of him trying to establish his identity in the Dominican, reapplying for his visa to come over to the United States, and then working through the channels within the State Department and Homeland Security to try to get back over and continue playing. So we're optimistic that he's going to be able to come back and contribute at some point this year. The specific timing of which we don't know yet, just because of, again, it's a little bit of uncharted territory for us.
I mean, does Major League Baseball affect anything once he's cleared through the State Department and everything else? Does Major League Baseball have an opportunity to suspend him or do something else to it?
Well, that's a big part of it. So not only is it the State Department and Homeland Security, the Dominican Dominican government, and some issues he has down there, but it's Major League Baseball and the Players Association. So it's a very complicated situation to try to navigate, but hopefully we've made some progress and we can get clarity on it maybe at some point in the next few weeks.
Now, when you say clarity on it, that doesn't mean we expect to see him in the next few weeks.
It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. If we have a really quick resolution, that would certainly be the earliest it could happen, but hopefully we at least get a better sense of the timetable and what we might be able to expect.
Well, and that's a big reason why you went out and you get a guy like Kevin Lowe. You've got a number of other guys in camp who are also working for spots in that starting rotation, like David Huff, Genmar Gomez. What have you liked from that group, and do you have an idea of who stacks where among those guys right now?
Yeah, I think, Kevin Lowe's got the most Major League experience of the group and probably the most success, not last year, but prior to that. And then the other guys have actually all thrown well. Genmar Gomez, Zach McAllister, who's also in that mix, and David Huff have actually all thrown relatively well here in camp. So that's another one of those battles that each guy brings something a little bit different to the table, and we're going to take the opportunity in spring to get them innings and allow them to compete.
And then comes decision time, and then you still plan for 8 guys going out of spring training. If they don't make the big league club, then you still have your 3 down there in Columbus that are going to take shape, some way, shape, or form throughout the course of the year.
It's an important part, as you said, Arch. We can't, when we build a team, it's not just about the 5 guys in the rotation or the 7 guys in the bullpen or the 13 guys that are going to be in the position player side. You have to build the depth beyond that. And for the rotation, even the best teams need 7, 8, 9 starters throughout the course of the year. So that's the way we look at building a rotation, and we know we need to have some quality alternatives beyond the guys that just start at the Major League level.
It's funny, we were looking back, and Matt, I think you sent me this stat. When you look at the teams and how many starters they use, we use almost, would we use 9 or 10 starters last year? But when you look at a lot of the teams that were in the playoffs, they only use like 7 guys.
6 or 7.
Right, 6 or 7 guys, so they stayed the healthiest. And I remember for a point there, we did too. I think 2005 and 2006, we went with 5, or I think it was the whole year.
The whole year. 2005, I think we used 5 starters the entire year.
I agree, and I mean, if you can do that, that is great, but that rarely happens.
You need a lot of things to go right. Not only do you need guys to stay healthy, but you need to perform consistently over the course of 34 starts. And to get 5 starters to go out and do that for 162 games is very rare.
Well, that's why I like to pick up a Derek Lowe. I don't care. He may be on the tail end of his career, but he doesn't miss starts. He goes out there, and other guys are going to follow him doing that. The younger guys. Hey, you got to get yourself in a position to go out there 34 times to learn how to do that.
As Derek said, that's one of the, when people ask him, how do you be successful as a Major League starting pitcher, he said, take the ball every 5th day.
That's
right. Prepare yourself to take the ball every 5 days, go out there and do it, and that's the best way to be successful, because you can't have success if you're not out there doing it. Yeah. And I think one thing Derek has demonstrated over the course of his career is he takes the ball every 5 days.
You look at the game start and the games, it's incredible. And that's what you want to see from Masterson and Tomlin and guys like that. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, because these guys, if they want to improve, they have to go out there day in and day out.
The fewest number of starters used last year: the Brewers, the Rangers, the Phillies, the Rays.
There you go.
All in the playoffs. That's going to end the inning. Chris, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Your time.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Indians General Manager Chris Antonetti with us. It's a 3-2 Padres lead after 7. 3-2 Padres, 8th inning now. And coming on to pitch for the Indians, right-hander Hector Ambriz. Hector, 34 appearances in 2010. Missed all last year with the Tommy John surgery. But talking with him earlier in camp, you know, he just feels good about being back and being able to throw all of his pitches and do it pain-free. He said, man, I was throwing the other day. I was like, that's how it's supposed to feel.
Well, yeah, you forget about him. He came up at the end of, what was it, 2 years ago.
He was a Rule 5 guy. Spent the whole year with us, but obviously had the elbow issues.
Got him from Arizona, right.
Had the elbow issues, and they just lingered, and eventually the ligament just was gone. And now Trevor Crowe, you see.
Well, welcome to the world of pitchers. The surgery, here you go. Tommy John will bring you back.
Andy Perino leading off for San Diego.
Well, I can tell what Chris was saying. They've got a lot of looking at people to do before this thing ends. He wants to see it tighten up sooner than later. But, you know, the tough thing is, too, though, when you're looking at that many guys, I mean, we don't have a chance to sit and talk with them all game, but you know, if you're not out there every day to get a feel for it, it's tough to tighten things up with your game plan. And Bruce Fields told us earlier, know thyself. I mean, you still have to get out there 2-3 days in a row to at least get a feel of what you're doing, and then you get a day off. It seems like these guys are playing a couple at-bats, and then they get a day off.
That's drilled to deep right and out of here. Andy Perino with a solo blast to make it 4-2 San Diego. Only the second extra base hit of the game for the Padres. They had a double way back in the second inning. And now a home run by Andy Perino.
Well, there's one right down Broadway. Middle in, he turns on it. As soon as Ambriz threw it, he knew. He says, that's not coming back. He turned, looked down to the ground. That's not how you want that first hitter to greet you.
That's out of play. Off the end of the bat towards center, sinking in a hurry, but in to make the catch. Ezekiel Carrera, one down.
Well, you can say big at Progressive Field with Indians Flex Packs. That's also, I told you, presented by Discount Drug Mart. And come on out to Fireworks Show, pick a dollar dog night, or many other of the special events that they have during the season. The number to call is 216-420-HITS, or on the computer, log on to Indians.com.
San Diego, as we talked about before, trying to rebuild and trying to do it quicker than the old-fashioned way, thanks to some of the trades. But they've got 8 of their top 10 prospects in their organization are in big league camp, including the last guy, Gorko, who hit the fly ball to center field. He was their top pick in 2010 out of West Virginia.
Hard to do. I mean, rebuild on the fly or quickly, because you need veterans in San Diego. You're not going to pay a lot of money. They're a small market team that keeps the payroll down. So, you know, I mean, they have guys this year that they can get them through, but let's see, will they come back? You're going to have guys that are eligible for free agency after the year that they're counting on this year. I mean, Carlos Quinton, will he be a free agent at the end of the year? Yes. Yep. I mean, so these guys have Houston Street, their closer, coming in.
I think the two guys in the middle are in that same situation with
Hudson and Bartlett.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard way to go. And, you know, if they go out and they are successful, then they're going to have to be paid well.
We saw Josh Burns before the ball game, who obviously cut his teeth in the Indians organization, the general manager here in San Diego. And they hired Omar Minaya in the offseason to run their baseball operations.
Well, and their center fielder Cameron Maben, they just signed to a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, to a 4 or 5 year deal.
You know what's interesting, Rick, is Phil Plantier is the new hitting coach. He's their 6th hitting coach in the last 8 years. Now, we talked about it before. Petco Park is not exactly an offensive paradise, but
that's why it's a hitting coach's fault.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, how much of that do they lay at the fault of the hitting coach?
I'd go there, be their hitting coach, and last a year, and then move on. It doesn't matter. Then you try somebody else. You got to have the hitters.
Well, they are trying something a little different, because not only did they hire Plantier, who took over for Randy Reddy, but also Alonzo Powell was hired as the assistant hitting coach. Now, he won't be on the bench during games, because you can only have so many coaches, but they basically hired 2 guys to try and take on the job, the task at hand.
That's a tough act. I mean, when you have you're listening to 2 guys.
They better be on the same page to make it work, obviously.
They will be on the same page, but let's say one guy's going to have to deal with one hitting coach. I don't know if that's going to work very well either.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 down here in the 8th inning, and the Padres leading it 4-2. Down low, did he go? He did not, says the third base umpire. And a full count. Now the 3-2. There was at least chatter, and I don't know if it was just media fans talking, but there was talk about maybe bringing the fences in at Petco Park, similar to what they did in Detroit, right? But Jeff Morad, the Padres CEO, said no.
Well, good. I mean, you see some of those parks. There's not many that are, you know, pitcher friendly. Minnesota's new ballpark, you know, at least for the most part, is a fair park to pitch in.
Ambriz strikes him out, and the inning is over. But the solo homer by Andy Perino increases the Padre lead to 4-2.
Express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Back here in Goodyear, it's a 4-2 Padres lead, bottom of the 8th inning. New pitcher for San Diego, Andrew Kashner, right-hander. Come over from the Cubs. Juan Diaz will lead it off for the Indians. Beautiful day here in Goodyear. Folks taking in the ball game. We spent a long time in Florida, obviously, with the Indians during their time in Winter Haven. The great thing about spring training baseball here in the Valley of the Sun is the proximity. I mean, everybody is just so close together, and it's makes it very fan friendly. You can see about a dozen teams all within half an hour drive of each other.
Well, right, yeah, you've got the Padres are playing today. They'll play them one more time, but they're down the road in Peoria, and they share with the Seattle Mariners. And then you have Texas and Kansas City over here in Surprise. It's 20 minutes away. And
right over in Glendale, you got the Dodgers.
Glendale, you've got the Dodgers and the White Sox. So it is very easy to get around.
Juan Diaz off the end of his bat, trying to drop it in the left. And it will, off the end of the glove.
Call for a double.
Diaz is going to continue on to second base and go in sliding safely.
Yeah, it falls for a double. Nice effort.
Perino
made a nice effort.
Great effort. And then Decker, it's not that he overran it, but when it went off his glove, it just carried right past him.
Yeah, it hits his glove, and if it doesn't, look at the ball gets past him, and Diaz is able to get to second base, so the leadoff double.
I'm going to bring up Chad Huffman. Pitch over the outside corner for a called strike. Towards second, that'll get the runner over to third. On down. Hey, tickets are on sale for the Ohio High School Athletic Association boys and girls state basketball tournaments. Girls tournament coming up March 15th through the 17th at the Schottenstein Center, Ohio State. Boys take the court at the Schott on Thursday, March 22nd through Saturday, March 24th. Tickets available through Ticketmaster or in person at the Schottenstein Center. Great weekend of high school basketball coming up. Here's Fred Lewis, takes a strike. Foul into the seats. Fred Lewis went to camp right across the way here last spring with the Cincinnati Reds. Two years ago in Toronto, before that with the San Francisco Giants. He was originally a 20th round pick of the Montreal Expos back in 2000, but he didn't sign. And then 2 years later, the Giants made him a second round pick. 31 years old, out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Off the plate. Karshner throws him out, 2 away. Petit now to the plate. Andrew Kashner goes 6-6. Fouled back by Gregorio Petit. Down in the dirt. Kashner came to the Padres by way of the Cubs. You remember, was it a year ago when the Padres traded Adrian Gonzalez to Boston?
Yes,
and
I do.
And got Anthony Rizzo, who was a highly touted prospect.
Supposedly the can't-miss prospect from the Boston Red Sox.
So the Padres then spun off Rizzo to Chicago to pick up this young man.
That lasted a year, huh?
But,
you know, who was with Boston now is the GM over there in Chicago, brought Rizzo back to Chicago with him. So
Theo Epstein. 2-1 pitch. Bounce to third. Long throw in time. Inning over. 8 complete from Goodyear. It's the Padres 4 and the Indians 2. Padres here in the 9th inning. And the Indians go back to the bullpen once again. Here is Jeremy Accardo.
Last year with Baltimore, but I remember more with the Toronto Blue Jays. I guess back in Cleveland, it's daylight savings. They turn the clocks ahead tonight, right? And in Arizona, we don't touch them. So tomorrow at this time, it'll be a 3-hour difference. This game started at 2 o'clock today. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, but it'll still be 4 o'clock Cleveland time. It seems like an early spring ahead. The people out here enjoying the sun. And what a winter they had back in Cleveland, huh? Talk about nice and warm. And
yeah, we didn't really have much of a winter.
That's fine.
A few days of snow here and there, yeah, but it was not like what we're accustomed to by any means.
So that means in a couple of weeks we'll be good to go. Home opener this year against the Toronto Blue Jays, the 5th of April.
Base hit for the Padres.
Well, they jump on that first fastball early. Base hit. That's hit number 12 now for the Padres.
Jonathan Galvez aboard to start the ninth. Pitch sails wide for Ricardo. I mentioned Matt Clark, who took over for Kyle Blanks. About the same size. He's an inch shorter. It's 6'5". And back-to-back hits for the Padres to open the ninth off Jeremy Ricardo.
Right into his wheelhouse, the one hop. Able to hold the man at second base. He was thinking going to third. So San Diego with a good start to the ninth.
Here's Reimer Liriano. Up high, ball one. Back out of play. Liriano, a native of the Dominican. He's just 20 years old. Count a ball and 2 strikes. Liriano last year he hit .298 between single A Fort Wayne and single A Lake Elsinore. 31 doubles, 9 triples, a dozen homers, 68 ribbies. He had 66 stolen bases between the two teams. Two on, nobody out here in the top of the ninth. San Diego up 4-2, looking to add to their lead. And Jeremy Ricardo delivers in the dirt. It's 2-2. Back in 2007, Jeremy Ricardo saved 30 games for the Toronto Blue Jays and had a .214 earned run average. That's in the hole and a base hit. Coming around third. Galvez waved home. The throw is cut off. 5-2 Padres. Reimer Liriano delivering the 3rd straight hit of the inning for San Diego. And that's the way it's been for the Padres today. Their hits have come in bunches.
Well, normally early in the game it was with 2 outs. Now nobody out. Gets him to hit the ground ball on the sinker, but it finds a hole, gets into left field, and San Diego scores. So it's run number 5, and it's still nobody out. So Ricardo looking for his very first out, and he would like it to be a ground ball double play.
Here is Edinson Rincon. to the screen. Baseball America says he has the best infield arm in the Padres organization. And just 21 years old. Now the 1-1. Right field. And a diving catch made there by Huffman. One down in the ninth.
Well, a very nice play here to get the first out. He continued. He started in. He was going to break that ball sinking on him, but he continues to come in and make a nice catch. And I'm sure Ricardo very happy. That's out number 1. So the guys had to retreat and go back.
Too low, ball 1. Jeff Decker is from right up the road here in Peoria, Arizona. Graduated from Sunrise Mountain High School. Really an interesting story regarding Decker, whose first name is pronounced Jeff. It's actually named after his uncle, whose name was misspelled on his birth certificate. And his uncle kept and lived with the misspelling until he died while serving in the Army, and then the name was passed on to honor his late uncle. And Decker enters the season as one of the top 10 prospects in this Padres organization. Set career highs in almost every offensive category a year ago at San Antonio. Broke his bat here. Crow hauls it in left field. 2 down. That's going to bring up Andy Perino. So Jeremy Ricardo trying to limit the damage. He's given up 1 run after allowing 3 straight hits to open the inning. Tried down 5-2 in the ninth.
You know what he said? He said, I just thought I'd ask that if you probably will. He said, you know what's going to be sweet.
Andy Perino is a native of New York, but he played his college baseball at Lemoyne College, which has produced 7 major league players, including Tom Browning and Jim DeShays.
Left-handed pitchers.
Now, what does that have to do?
Well, have 7 of them. 2 of them are left-handed pitchers. Where are the other ones? Let's see if
they don't have them all listed.
Okay.
Another one listed is...
They just claimed the major leaguers,
yeah,
right?
Right, yeah.
Well, that's not the left-handed pitchers. Yeah. Browning, a perfect game.
Yeah.
DeShays, doesn't he do something with the Houston Astros now? Isn't he a broadcaster with them?
Absolutely.
There you go. We will see them. We go to Houston this year in interleague play.
That's right.
And then next year, Houston will be part of the American League. They will move over to the American League West.
Swung on and missed.
So you keep coming up with these factoids, and we can just go from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, The interleague schedule is interesting this year because essentially we're playing the National League Central plus the Marlins. We're playing the Pirates, the Reds, the Astros, and St. Louis. Plus we get the Marlins.
They come in, yes. The Marlins come to Cleveland.
And of course we have the Cincinnati home and home. That will be certainly interesting to see how Ozzie Guillen and company fare. Miami Marlins,
they went out and spent some money.
Yeah, new stadium, new players.
Well, Ozzie couldn't go a year without coming to Cleveland. He had to come back. We will definitely hear it from afar this year compared to being in the division and having an opportunity to play those guys 18 times.
Well, that's going to be an interesting story too, though, Rick. I mean, Robin Ventura never really been a manager, taking over for the Chicago White Sox, and appears to be a rebuilding situation there.
Yes, it does. They're counting on some of the guys that they went out and gave big money to come back.
Struck him out looking to end the inning. Padres tack on a run. We go to the bottom of the ninth. San Diego 5, Cleveland 2. Bottom of the ninth inning.
Been playing out in that sun all day long. It's about ready. They got to go home, take a little nap, or eat dinner and go to bed.
Nick Vincent will come on for San Diego here in the ninth. He'll be looking at Andy LaRoche, Trevor Crowe, Matt Laporta. And if somebody gets aboard, then Luke Carlin. There's Tim Tolman in the foreground. Bench coach a year ago, but stepped down at the end of last season, still with the organization. And now Sandy Alomar has taken over the role of bench coach alongside Manny active for this season. In there for a strike. Andy LaRoche walked and scored. His only time up. Coming up tonight on STO, the hockey high school semifinals. And then we've got more baseball coming on Monday. Indians Diamondbacks will come their way Monday at 4. And then Tuesday, we'll have the Indians and the Rangers.
You notice 4 out of our 6 games this spring are against the National League West. With the Dodgers, we had the Padres, with the D-backs.
Running catch by Reimer Liriano for out number 1. Trevor Crow. Came on as a pinch runner for Russ Kanzler in the 7th inning, his first at bat. You know, it was interesting when we had General Manager Chris Antonetti earlier. You were talking about the fact that, you know, when guys get hurt, they kind of become forgotten men because the game moves on. The game doesn't wait for you.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that Chris said, you know, we haven't forgotten about him. We still think that he could be, you know, a potential guy that can help.
I meant, you know.
Oh, I know what you're saying. But
when I was saying, I know what he's saying. We don't forget about him. Of course not. He was a #1 draft pick. But as a player, you feel forgotten because if you're not there, out of sight, out of mind. But the organization is certainly not.
Oh, Mariano with a spectacular catch. It's too straight for the right fielder. That one had to go a little harder. Whew.
That's on a full sprint.
He was huffing and puffing, but he hauled it in.
And when you're running that fast, coming to catch a ball and running in on it, your head is bouncing, and that ball is bouncing going into that glove. That's why he didn't catch it cleanly. But, boy, that's all you have to do is make sure it stays in the glove. Tough play. He's looking up into the sun. Hit at the heel. Came into the top part of the glove, a little snow cone, but he holds on to it. Nice running catch.
Matt Laporta, last hope for the Tribe. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts today. Oh, into the count. Popped him up. Clark, the first baseman, makes the catch, and the game is over. San Diego wins it by a final score today of 5-2. With the win, the Padres now 3-5 on the spring. Indians fall to 2-5 with a tie this spring. 4,257 our attendance today here at Goodyear Ballpark. Our next telecast will come your way Monday at 4 o'clock when the Indians take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Time now for our play of the game. Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, back in the fourth, got the Indians rolling, and this is a good sight. A good swing, gets a fastball to his liking, drilled it deep to center field. Solo home run for Shin-Soo Choo.
Certainly great to see Choo back, healthy, swinging a potent bat. Look forward to big things from Shin-Soo Choo in 2012. That's going to wrap things up for our coverage of Indians baseball today here in Goodyear, Arizona. The Padres win it by a final count of 5-2. Again, we're back with you Monday at 4 when the Indians take on the Diamondbacks here in Goodyear, Arizona. For Rick Manning, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. High school hockey is coming up next on STO.